So here we have the Capita Mercury, the formerly Totally Fucking Awesome, so Totally Fucking Mercury. And it's a really fun all-mountain board. You know, we've been riding this for years and really like it. It's just got a good feel to it. And every year it seems like I mentioned in the review above, Capita seems to be tweaking their cores to where this used to feel a lot more aggressive all mountain to where now it feels a little more just like all mountain. It's still slightly wider in the tip and tail than your many of our other favorite all mountain boards, and it favors a straight line a little bit more, but it's still a great board. And I like it's the last remaining board in their line with the death grip, and you can kind of see the side cut go and then a little bump in the middle just to give it a little more edge hold, and it does help. It's not an ice specialist, but it is probably has the best edge hold out of Capita's line. I would just say, you know, it's probably just like a borderline hard snow board. I love this camber profile. It's got a nice bit of camber between the feet, even for a 53. Usually the 57's more, you know, more my size and style. But, you know, you can see this nice bow underfoot, and then it kind of ends, you know, a little bit past the bindings and then goes to their, you know, little kick. So also you can see it's kind of a double ender. It's almost, it's directional, but it's twin-ish. So it doesn't really want to like be a one kind of, you can't just pigeonhole this board and say it's only good for one thing. Instead, you want, you can ride this switch, you can butter it a lot easier than you used to be, and then you can set it back on powder. And one of the things I've noticed though is the setback on board is not much more than the setback on side cut. And this is a 53, you know, at the 57 it's probably maybe a little different, I don't know. But you're looking at a reference stance of about 21. Set all the way back is about 21 and a half. And this is for the 53. And then you're looking at, you know, like 19 and a half to the last inserts, and 18 and a half just about to the last inserts. So you're only looking at an inch on board. What's interesting though is this rocker in the nose makes it float a little better than you would think for just the minimal setback on board. That's not really that far back on board. So it's, you know, so it's a good daily driver for somebody who likes a little bit, favors a little bit more directional riding than they do, you know, riding either way. If you ride either way, you probably want something more like the outer space living all the time. But if you're, you know, 70-30, you know, 60-40, 80-20, this might be more fun as your daily driver. And then maybe something like the Black Snowboard of Death, or maybe one of the Capita Spring Breaks as your powder board. That would be a great 1-2 quiver. But if you can't afford a powder board, this will still float well in, you know, in most snow. It's not going to just kill it in the deep, but you know, you get a foot or two, this will have good directional float when set all the way back. So, like the base, you know, we didn't really give the base a waxing, but it had nice glide, especially for you know, how poorly it was waxed. Really appreciate that, and that it you know, it's got glide, and it's a fast board. It's got a little bit of that straight liner kind of feel, but it can also turn, especially if you pair it up with some good bindings like the Union Atlas or the T-Rise Falcor or something like that would be a good combo. I think you could work with the Force too, but you really want to kind of keep it more. I've done some binding tests with this, and it really responds to the more responsive binding. So the more responsive you go, the better it is for you. So all in all, the Capita Mercury is just a great board. We love it. It's kind of dropped down to a little bit of an all mountain board, which is a good thing. It's still got that straight liner appeal, but the more they play with the core year over year, the more they make it better for the masses. It's just a little easier to butter. It's a little more dynamic, a little more snappy, a little more light, but just as damp. So it's kind of I love to see this board evolve. My only wish would be maybe, a little more setback on board, a little more setback on side cut. Maybe go to 0.75 so it's easier to center up instead of, I believe, 0.5 on side cut. But all in all, Mercury is super fun, and here's a look of it. Here's the look under pretty lights.